also a library user. I was a library user well before I became a librarian. As a child, a student and an adult, I've used the library for pleasure, to pursue various hobbies and to study. I couldn't have done my library degree without my local public library. I've used the library with my own children and I'm now using it with my granddaughter. When I sat down and began to think about what to say today, I really didn't know where to start. It was the whole thing was just too big to think about, because the decimation of our libraries and the deprofessionalism of the staff who work in them is inexcusable, and the people that are allowing this to happen should be ashamed of themselves. A few years ago, I think it was 2009, and Alan will be able to verify the date, the campaign for the book was established. 2008, I couldn't find that. And I was one of the founding signatories. I remember driving a minibus full of school librarians up to a meeting in Birmingham. We were all very enthusiastic and full of expectations because things were finally happening. Now, amongst the campaign's many aims were to have reading for pleasure as a central place in society and to defend public libraries and librarians and their professional status. And what are we doing today, 6 years later? What are we here defending? We have reading for pleasure as an offset criteria, and yet they award schools an outstanding without even going near the library. In fact, schools can obtain outstanding without having a library or librarian, and I really wish somebody would explain that to me. Now, according to Public Library News, and many thanks to Ian Anstis, who does a fantastic job of keeping us informed, there are estimated 491 static and mobile libraries either closed, threatened with closure, or taken over by volunteers in the period 2013 to 14, not forgetting those closed in previous years. And this is without measuring the cuts to staff hours or book funds that have occurred in many others. If I was to list the authorities that were affected by this let's close the library and save money regime, we would all be here, I would be standing here all day. Since April of this year, further 170 static libraries are under threat or have been passed to volunteers. And for each of those libraries, there is an impact on the professional staff who work in them, not to mention the community they serve. When is this going to stop? When we don't have any libraries left? This week, Ed Vaizey stated that he has, and I quote, a team of officials who have a great deal of experience of working with the library sector. Really? I somehow find this hard to believe. I'd like to know who this team of experienced officials are and meet with them to discuss their parameters for what they consider to be a comprehensive and efficient service. He has also stated, and again I quote, that he changed policy to ensure that every council closing libraries was investigated. If this is true, then almost every council must either have been investigated already or be under investigation. So where are the results for these? The Audit Office has warned the DCMS that cuts to libraries are being forced through with no assessment of their impact. Now that's actually something I do believe. I truly think that both the short and long-term impact of library closures was measured, then people, and by this I refer to those responsible for decisions to close them, will be horrified by the results. It's easy to measure the impact of other services and cuts to them. The reduced number of bin collections results in a specific amount of rubbish not being collected. It's not so easy to measure the impact of library closures, but that's not a reason not to try and measure it. Libraries affect literacy levels, the well-being and health of the population. They feed into the local economy. They support businesses, upskilling, further study. They provide a safe environment with trusted staff, not to mention IT facilities. I could go on. And the argument that they are not used or needed or relevant is not borne out by research. A study by the Reading Agency in 2013 showed that there were almost 3 million visits to public libraries during the year, with around 263 million books lent. And if you want the breakdown of that, that's 92 million children's books, 116 million adult fiction, and 55 million adult non-fiction. Libraries not being used or relevant? I don't think so. And don't forget that many people who visit a library don't actually borrow a book. Our public library system is generally well regarded, held up to be something to aspire to internationally, and considered important to our culture and society. So why are they not being supported? I've spoken to many people about libraries during the past year, and when they realise the true situation, and trust me, I do tell them, that libraries are being closed and professional staff replaced with volunteers, they are horrified. Now, each generation tends to hope that the next one will have something better, more opportunities, more chances, if you like. They certainly don't want things to move backwards. I know this was true for my parents and also the case for my hopes and wishes for my daughters, yet we are now looking at the real possibility of future generations growing up in a society without the value and benefit of libraries. We have a wide range of people here today with various concerns, but I hope we are all in agreement that libraries and librarians are important, necessary, and play a valued role. So let's work together to find a way forward, a way to convince those that think libraries don't matter, that they actually do, because libraries make a difference. Thank you.